Senator Blackburn, thank you so much for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. Just wanted to get your initial reaction to the president's remarks, because right before he came up to the podium, you issued a pretty scathing statement calling for his resignation. What did you make of the tone of the remarks? Do you think they struck the requisite tone?
The president walked to the microphone, and while he had a few appropriate things to say, what he did not lay out was a plan of action of how we move forward. He continued to place blame. This is not his fault. It's Donald Trump's fault. There was an agreement that was made, but what he's missing is he tossed that agreement to the side. He said it is not a mistake to have the Taliban on patrol and to give them the names of Americans that are trying to get into the airport. I thought he seemed very disengaged when he said that he had another meeting for real. He is not being transparent with the American people. Indeed, I'm not sure that anybody in his national security team is choosing to be appropriately transparent. People are so distressed about this, and we all grieve for those families, those service members that were killed today, that lost their life in the line of duty, for others who may have been injured. I know we'll find out more as we go through the coming hours, but there should have been a plan. And while he says we will hunt you down and you will pay, and that is appropriate, and indeed we should, there was not a plan of action of how we're going to get these troops that are on the ground out safely after we get every American and our partners, our Afghan partners, out of there. That is the part that was missing. And as I talk to Tennesseans, that is what they're wanting to hear. Okay,
and
this is a mess.
Senator, a lot of your Republican colleagues are calling for some resignations, whether it's the president or people within the State Department, the National Security Council. But one of my questions, though, is many of your colleagues are also calling for this deadline to be extended past August the 31st. The president is remaining very defiant and steadfast that he just is not going to do that, even when Americans are still there in Afghanistan.
And how can you turn your back and leave Americans behind enemy lines? That is astounding to me. How can you justify that when you know that there are Americans there? And to say, well, there are some Americans here, some citizens here, but they don't want to leave. Well, the Taliban has said, and also I think you have to realize this, the cell phone data, the records, things that the Taliban has their hands on now. Do you really think that they are going to protect these individuals, that there is no harm that is going to come to these individuals? I'm incredibly worried for the security. My team has been absolutely fantastic, working with people, citizens that were there, working with Tennesseans who have family that are there, individuals maybe that are Afghan, or they worked with as a translator, interpreter, a guide, an intel source, or worked with our embassy. They're incredibly concerned about this. And I fully believe that what the American people wanted to hear him say was, we're going to have a change of course. Sometimes when you're on a course and it falls apart and it's not working as you had thought it would work, you have to change course.
And Senator, this has been the deadliest day for U.S. troops in Afghanistan in a decade. We're 16 days out from the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 terror attacks. Many people are saying that this could have been avoided. This did not have to happen the way it did. But back to President Trump's decision, that May 1st deadline, President Biden, when he came into office, extended that. They didn't necessarily have to go along with any deadline. They could have made their own course of events, their own set of standards to prolong this. It didn't have to end right on August 31st. Will you be calling for investigations in the Senate, in Congress, about how this was handled?
I look forward, as a member of the Senate Armed Service Committee, to us taking this issue up. There was a plan, there was a strategy, there was an agreement between us and our partners, and oh my goodness, to change this from conditions-based to a date certain, and to do it without a plan of action. This is one of those things. Leaders are strong. They make decisions. Leaders are competent. Leaders know how to implement their decisions. They go about their work trying to right wrongs. They're compassionate. They're forward-thinking. And what we are seeing is someone who is a leader in title, but not in action, and is perceived as being very weak, very vulnerable in that weakness, that this causes our nation to appear to be weak because of the leadership team that is around a weak president. And people are saying, what kind of advice is he getting, and how could he do this?
Senator Blackburn, last question for you. We've been hearing from the president that he said he takes full responsibility for this, but he also acknowledged that we're not out of the woods yet. There could be more attacks. What do you foresee happening in the next couple of days, possibly past August 31st?
We are going to have to find a way to get Americans and our partners there out and to keep our troops safe. And if it means more air support, more ground support, taking in a C-17 and pulling out some tanks, I guess those are going to have to be things. But see, this is something where you get into not having had a plan. Bagram Airfield should never have been given up. But our men and women that are there at HK Airport cannot be sitting ducks. We cannot put them in that type of situation. There has to be a plan to keep them safe, a plan. We've had our men and women in uniform, they're the strongest and best fighting force on the face of the earth. They've been conducting some rescues outside the fence. We are grateful for that. We're going to have a plan of action. The president is going to have to be transparent with the American people. He's going to have to give them the confidence that he has a plan of action and that there is a way to implement this and bring everyone home safely. I am praying for their safety. I am praying that God will watch over them and their families and comfort them during this time of tremendous stress.
All right, Senator Marsha Blackburn, Republican from Tennessee, thanks for offering those thoughts here on Live Now from Fox. You're joining a whole host of your colleagues on the Republican aisle calling for resignations, not only President Biden, but also in the national security establishment and the Defense Department. We thank you for your time. We'll talk to you again.